All right. Are we ready? Okay. All right. With it being 7 o'clock, we will call to order the February 24th meeting of the Whitley County Board of Zoning Appeals. For first order of business will be roll call.
Yes, sir. Kim Kurtzessler.
Here.
Kelly Sheets.
Here.
Danny Wilkinson.
Here.
Joe Wolf.
Here.
And Doug Wright.
Here.
Okay, our next business will be, we have before us the meeting or the minutes from the previous meeting. If you've had a chance to look at them, whether it be your hard copy or online, we'll entertain a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion from Doug, second from Kim to approve the minutes from January 27th. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion passes. Our next order of business, if you are here to speak tonight, whether you are presenting or representing a case that is here, or if you're speaking for or against anything or have questions, we are going to have our legal counsel, Liz Deckard, administer an oath. So if you are planning to speak at all, please rise and Liz will administer the oath.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that any statements you make before the board tonight will be the truth? If so, state I do. You can be seated.
All right. With no old business that I know of, we'll move on. We are going to deviate a little bit because one of our petitioners is running a little bit late. We're going to move him to last, which is 26W Variance 2. And tonight we will start off with 26W Special Exception 3, Scott and Christina Wise. If you'll give me a moment, I will get to that. The petitioner, owner of the subject property, is requesting approval to operate a bait shop in an existing residence on the property at 6924 North Wise Road. This property is on New Lake and is about 350 feet south of 700 North in Etna Troy Township in the Lake Residential Zoning District. Bait shop use requires a special exception. The current zoning is Lake Residential on this. Staff, may we have your report, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'm going to the slides here. As you said, this is at 6924 North Wise Road, zoned LR Lake Residential. Total lot area is about 7,300 square feet. What is being requested is a special exception for a bait shop. Bait shops are called out explicitly in LR as a special exception, so this isn't anything like a home occupation or anything. This is a full-fledged use. What is being proposed is to convert a portion of the existing residence into that bait shop, an area of about 16 feet by 12 feet, so relatively small. They'd offer live bait, tackle, fishing supplies, as well as various sundry items, for example, snacks, drinks, ice, etc., seasonal items, and so on. The remainder of the structure would remain a residence. Perhaps the employee would live there, others, but that's yet to be determined. Proposed hours would be from dawn to 7 p.m., but that would vary with the season, of course. One employee would be on site at any one point in time. total number of employees the petitioner can give you a little bit more detail on. Going to reference materials, highlighted there in blue is the subject site. 700 North is the county road running east-west here. And what is that? 350 West is over here. And Wise Road connects the two. Closer view, you can see the site. This is one of the smaller homes in the immediate vicinity. You can compare this to the two to the south and then the two to the north as well. Oblique view again for perspective, showing you how this fits in. The petitioner does propose, this is their submitted site plan, relatively few external changes. There would be signage. They've committed to conforming to the sign code on that. There would be parking for customers as well as residents out front and potentially along the side. Which one would be for customers versus employees versus the resident? I believe this would be residents and customers, and employee would be along the side, but of course that could still be in flux based upon exactly how access is to be determined. Floor plan, very basic floor plan. It's just basically the front portion of the residence, which, as it appears, was an addition to the original lake cottage at some point. So it's just using that entire space for the bait store, with the rest being the dwelling. Going to the special exception suggested conditions. 1 and 2 are standard. Number 3, this is a business use, but it is in a residential area. So whether we require paving for it or not is going to be up to you. Residential and agricultural areas do not require paving. You can have gravel. If this was a business zone, it would require a paved area. So your consideration on that. However, the condition is assuming gravel, which is what is proposed, and a condition that it must be in good condition and available to accommodate the required parking. Putting in time rather than dawn for the hours of operation, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m., or as you may further refine tonight, 5, 6, 7 are standard conditions, standardly recommended conditions regarding exterior lighting, dumpsters, and signage. I will say that I do have a bit of concern about traffic generation because this is a tight lake road, as most are. That is somewhat tempered because I would think that most of the traffic would not be coming up through the majority of the Wise Road, or the greater length of Wise Road. It would probably be dropping down from 700 North straight to the bait shop. So it only pass by the northernmost 2 dwellings rather than traffic going through the entire length. There isn't much other than the nature of how people drive to prevent someone from going through that. But again, my expectation, much of the traffic would come straight off 700 because that's the shorter route, and you don't deal with all the lake homes and all the congestion that is there because this is a lake area. So with that caveat to the whole thing, I do feel that this could be an appropriate use. Again, it is a special exception under LR and would be contemplated under the zoning district. So with that, any questions for me?
Nathan, what is Lake Village? Is that's not a zone? You mentioned in the staff report Lake Village character. Is that a morphism of Lake Residential and Village Commercial, or what is?
No, Lake Village is a character type out of the comprehensive plan.
Okay.
And that was intentional so that it would not be confused with the zoning districts.
Okay. Thank you.
So yeah, that criteria, the last criteria.
From the map that, okay.
Yeah. The purpose, as stated here, I didn't go over the criteria, but the last one talks about the purpose of the ordinance as stated in section 1.4 of the zoning code, and that purpose includes a reference to the comprehensive plan. That's why the comp plan is mentioned.
Okay.
Are there any other questions of staff? Okay, thank you, Nathan. We will move on now to hear from the petitioner or representative of the petitioner. If you would please come to the podium, state your name and address and what it is that you want to do with your special exception.
Hi, I appreciate your time. I'm Scott Wise. I live at 3775 West Lincoln Way. This is our property. We bought it last year. We have another property 3 doors down. I also own a piece of property about a quarter of a mile away. We thought it'd be a great place for a little bait store. The community needs one. Also some sundry items that the local community might need, maybe some milk or bread or something like that we would carry as well. Since Wilson Ewer's store closed up, 30 years ago, and now Goss Grocery's closed, there's really nothing on that side of the county for people to grab some milk or some bread. I think mostly the bait store use of this would be people going to maybe Loon Lake or one of the nearby lakes, Troy Cedar or Goose Lake. It's kind of out of the way, so I don't see a tremendous amount of traffic there. I think it's going to be pretty low key. Some grandparents may come get some worms for their grandkids or whatnot, or grab some minnows. So we were hopeful that we could get this going and have a nice little bait store there. As far as the residence goes, we'll probably use that ourselves. We may look at renting out our property that's 3 doors down. So this would be a nice place for us to stay, just my wife and I and grandson. And have a little bait store there that, whenever somebody came by, we'd be available to sell them some worms or some fish.
Are there any other questions of the petitioner?
So that will not be your residence. Your residence will remain on Lincoln Way. That will just be like.
That's correct. Yeah. It's really for the summer. For the most part, there'll be some extended time, when fishermen are out in the fall or the spring that we'll be there for the bait store. But yes, we live at Lincoln Way there. That's where our home is.
Thank you.
I was going to say my interest right now, since it is winter and I do plow that road, I'm always going around the guys that are ice fishing.
Sure.
And I know that road is tight. And when you get down to the west even farther where they park to go out on the lake, it's all we can do to get that
Sure,
550 through there. So
I own that property out the other end of Wise Road there. Geiger's own the field. I own the property up the hill there as well. So very familiar with that area. I know that there's cars parked there frequently. Sometimes people pull their boats up and park in front of, their friend's house and maybe have a beer or something before they go fishing or after they go fishing. So sometimes there might be a boat sitting in that road somewhere too. But I think it's relatively normal, and I think that the traffic that this business will generate will be rather insignificant.
Nathan, what is the speed limit on Wise Road? Do you know?
I think I can look that up. Hang on.
I think it's like 10 or 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, it should default to 35 if it's not marked.
I think it's posted. I think it used to be posted at 20, and I think it's now posted at 10. So.
yeah, I'm not sure whether that was the county thing or not.
Yeah, it doesn't look like county posting, but it is posted.
Is there a speed limit for the curve in particular?
I think it's all the same.
Okay.
There is a speed limit sign there just before the curve would that be to the north, I guess, there?
Yeah, GIS shows it all, the entirety of Wise Road as 20 mile an hour.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You may sit down. Okay, we will open the public hearing for anybody to speak for or against or that has questions on this petition. Please come to the microphone, state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Michael Vaughn. I live at 6882 Northwise Road. And I appreciate and applaud them for their entrepreneurship and their ideas. I think it's awesome. And I know the Wise family, and I think they're awesome people. My biggest problem, and I weighed the pros and the cons on this, and my biggest problem is the parking. The normal person that fishes comes in a truck and a boat. A truck is 20 foot, a boat's 20 foot, so you're at 40 feet long. More than one customer is probably going to take up a lot of room for parking. The road is, I measured it this morning, is 16.2 feet, roughly 17 feet if I had to guess. You're right, they park at the end, and when they do, you can't get around them. It's hard. And when you pass a neighbor, it's always a wave, and you use all fingers. So it's really a nice community. It's very small. I just have trouble with the inadequate accessibility to the property. That's my only concern. Is it's on a curve. You said that earlier. We have school buses. We're not talking about garbage. We're not even talking about the utility trucks. They're on that road all the time. They park. You can't get around it. It's impossible. And so now we're back to, again, the accessibility to the property. It's just, I agree with them. I like them. I think it's a swell idea. It's just not physical for our area, our neighborhood. It's a quiet little neighborhood. It's beautiful. I retired. I moved there. I enjoy it. I think the world of it. But you put a garbage truck on there, and it takes up the whole road. I mean, it's impossible. So my biggest thing, I think, is, the county does a wonderful job plowing it. They really do maintain it well. There's just not enough room. So thank you for my time.
Thank you.
Is
My name is Sonia Rubrake, and I live at 6850 Northwise Road, down a few houses from the proposed bait shop, which the idea is great, but I agree with Mike that our road is extremely narrow. You can't pass two cars. Somebody always has to pull over. And if we had increased traffic with trucks and boats, trailers, etc., it would block that end of the street, so you'd have to go out and around. Sorry, my gestures. But so that's my biggest concern, is the additional congestion and the very limited space on the curb there. Thanks.
Thank you, Sonia. Is there anybody else? Seeing no one else, we will close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for discussion.
I guess I would say, Mr. Wise, I applaud, I agree with your neighbor. I'm all for entrepreneurship. It is a need. The community chatter says so, and ever since we lost the one on what I call the point on Lincoln Way, no matter how run down it was, there's definitely been a void there. I have a dream that someone will put in a little A-frame on that point and put in exactly what you want to do, or that someone will take that empty garage in Etna and use it to that point. But I think when you look at the characteristics of those locations, that is the appropriate place for something like this. My concern is not even so much with the road, because if you look at the bait shop in Webster, in another county in North Webster, it's right along a curve, it's a tight area, but there is not a residence on either side of it. And you get over there, I live out your way, you've got neighbors right next to you, right across from you, and I think it's a great idea. I just think it's the wrong location. I think if you look at the Lake Residential District intent, it says that we should strive to protect this district from business encroachment and conflicting land uses. And I do think it's a conflicting land use. It's a need, but not right where it's located. And I know we've talked about the comprehensive plan, and it may fit the Lake Village character type, but the comprehensive plan also talks for focused growth and growth compatible within the context of the surrounding area. And I hope that we could learn from some previous decisions made, that when you approve a business entity right in the middle of where you have a residence on either side, sometimes we just ask ourselves for more conflicts. So I just, like I said, I think it's the right, great idea and absolutely needed, particularly up in our area. It's just not the right location.
I'd like to ask the petitioner, what is the planned size of the gravel parking lot?
Should I speak from here?
If you
The lot width there is 40 feet. It would really be gravelled that entire width. So that would leave room for 4 cars wide. It's deep enough in that area to hold a pickup truck. So it's I don't know the exact dimension from the road there to the front of the building, but it's enough for a pickup truck to park in front of there. So you can put 4 pickup trucks across there.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If there's no other discussion, what would be the board's pleasure?
I would move we deny the request for special exception 26 WSE 3 from Scott and Christine Wise for the operation of a bait shop on the property of 6924 North Rise Road.
We have a motion.
Second.
Danny has made the second. All those in favor of denying 26 WSE 3, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Motion is denied by a vote of 5-0. So,
Please don't let this dim your entrepreneurial spirit.
No, ma'am. If I could, I appreciate your consideration and thanks for your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to our next piece of business. Will be 26W Special Exception 4. Nathanial and Faron McClain. Special exception. The petitioner, owner of the subject property, is requesting special exception approval for an automotive detailing business. The property is located at 1355 South, 300 East, in Section 17 of Union Township. The subject property is currently improved with a house and a detached garage. It is currently zoned AG agricultural. The size is 2 acres. Staff, your report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So going to the slides. As you said, this is 1355 South 300 East. It's basically surrounded by Lincoln Point, zoned AG agricultural, size of 2 acres. What is being requested is a special exception for an automobile detailing business. As it says in the written staff report, detailing businesses have been interpreted to be equivalent to an auto repair shop, which is a listed special exception use of AG. What would be proposed is to construct a outbuilding, 40 by 64 foot outbuilding to operate the business in. It would relocate the previously approved home occupation that was approved a couple years ago on Picket Lane, which is only a couple hundred feet away. As proposed or as submitted, there would be up to 6 vehicles worked on per week. Most would be dropped off and picked up the same day, but there would be some overnight parking with that as well. Regular hours of operation would be 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., but he did submit that there may be times that work could go on as late as 9 p.m. There wouldn't be any employees other than the petitioner, and importantly, the residence would continue to be used as a residence. Going on to the reference. So highlighted there in blue is the subject property. Lincoln Point, as I said, is over here. The Mormon church is down here. The petitioner's existing approval is for the home occupation up here on Picket Lane. A little bit closer view. Oblique view showing it from perspective from the west. Site plan, again, this is sketch because we're discussing uses, but again, they are petitioners proposing a 40 by 64 building down here. Use the existing driveway. It would split off basically at the right of way. One part of the drive would go to the business, the other to the existing home. Fence would separate the two north and south. There would be signage involved as well, which would be acceptable under the sign code. Everything would be kept within either inside or within the fenced-in area. I believe that's one of the notes, and no dumpsters is the current proposal. So going to staff's suggested conditions, number 1 and 2, again, are pretty standard. Number 3 is putting into writing the hours of operation as submitted, as is number 4 with the average of 6 vehicles per week. Number 5 would be a condition that customer vehicles would either be parked inside or to the west of the proposed building so that they would not be generally in view of the adjacent homes to the east. And even at that, there wouldn't be any more than 3 customer vehicles parked outside at any one time. And then 7, 8, 9 are, again, standard conditions regarding lighting, signage, and any sort of dumpster enclosures. Going to the review criteria, staff doesn't feel that this is particularly injurious or have great effects on any of the criteria. Going to the 4th one regarding vehicular access and traffic congestion, this does seem to have enough room for all of the different purposes going on. Doesn't seem that this would generate enough traffic to be a concern on 300 East. While 300 East is gaining more and more traffic, this is a fairly low level, low intensity commercial use, all things considered. It is an outgrowth of what is currently a home occupation, so it's the next step up, basically. The comprehensive plan does call out this area to be overall residential. However, it is on the line with commercial going westward. So again, it does float between the two, and the comp plan does generally recommend business growth in appropriate locations. So with that, any questions for me?
Nathan, what happens in an instance like this to the original approval of the home business occupation? Does that still stand so they could still do what they're doing out of their home as well as this if this was approved? Or does that become null and void would we put it down in a condition as if approved, the special exception for the, I don't know. You see what I'm saying?
I do, and that's a really good point. No, there is no automatic provision for expiration with the existing special exception. So if you want to have that expired, I think that could be added. I can't think of a reason why it couldn't be added as a condition to this special exception to basically transfer that, to rescind that special exception if this one goes forward. However you want to word it.
Okay. All right.
It's a great
Thank you.
question.
Based on your discussions with the petitioner, this was definitely meant to be moved from one location to another and not act as an overflow.
That is my understanding, and the petitioner can confirm his thoughts.
And I just asked this because I know, Kim, but I knew we had some neighbor concerns, but I think it's great to see that the growth has necessitated a bigger area, but I'm just kind of trying to see where we're at, so.
Agreed.
And also there was no discussion about fencing at on the west or east side of the property,
I was going to ask that
separating
question.
the subdivision.
Correct.
Or anything.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Nathan? Okay, seeing none, petitioner or representative of, would you please come forward and tell us what you would like to do with your special exception?
How you guys doing tonight? I'm Nate McClain. I actually live at 3053, which you guys approved to do a home occupation of about 2.5 years ago, give or take. I've now got to the point where I've finally been able to outgrow that, I guess, fortunately. And then we were able to purchase this property, which is not part of the subdivision, in order to put up my building to be able to grow my business. I was told at the time of the meeting then that great idea, wrong location, which now I can agree with and definitely see your side of that. I'm just very hopeful and energetic to be able to do this and continue growth and serving the city.
Well, I know Kim raised this question. I was going to ask it of you also. On the west side, you know, I'm familiar with the area because the church sits on the south side there. Usually not a lot of traffic other than Sunday that I know of.
Sure.
Other than when we're working on Lincoln Way.
Yep.
So, because our trucks will congregate there and that. But as far as she mentioned fencing, I was going to say more the term screening, whether it be you would be thinking about maybe putting up some trees as a sight barrier and that along the property line or just off the property line back to the west a little bit.
Okay.
You mean east?
Mm-hmm.
Because that whole tree line there with the parking lot, that's an entire tree line.
Yeah, I'm speaking of this east area here.
Adjacent.
I'm open to that. The lady that lives behind me with you can see the corner of the pool there. She already has fencing, so she's not going to be able to see any of it anyway. And the other gentleman, there's actually kind of a patch of 4 or 5 small trees back there. It would basically block the view from his back door of the building for the most part.
Okay.
Are those deciduous or evergreen trees?
They're small maples that somebody planted probably 10 years ago, I would guess, maybe. We actually had to remove, I think we removed 8 trees total because they were unfortunately just dead, or we would have left them because we just like that type of thing, shade and stuff like that. So.
And I want to make sure that just to confirm what's shown on the site plan there as well, any customer vehicles, all the parking, the driveway would be on the west side of the new building, and the building would effectively screen any of the vehicles, correct? That is the intention?
Yes, sir. Yep. So anything that's finished, until I know that the client will be coming to pick it up, it will sit inside. I've taken on more large projects that require the building space. So I'd rather have them inside anyway, because I don't like having to double and triple up on my work if we get, rain or a farmer's farming, dust and stuff like that is kind of a hindrance, unfortunately. I've lived with it for 5 years, but hopefully we can outgrow that a little bit.
So, Nathaniel, is the plan to move everything wholly at this location and discontinue there at your residence?
Yes, the only thing that I will wash at my residence will be my personal vehicles.
Which wouldn't fall under a special exception, or we're all in trouble.
Yeah, that's the idea, because I'm ready for my home and my family to be home and family and not associated with work. I want to be able to leave.
If we added a condition that the previous home occupation special exception would be null and void if this is approved, do you see any hardship on that? Just because I think we need to be clear on.
I think that's completely fair, to be honest with you. I don't know exact timeline of the building being completely finished, so I don't want to set a date that's like absolutely soon, but I would say no later than August, the building being complete and done, and I'll have everything out of my home garage.
So if we did within 12 months or within
End of the year.
end of the year,
That's perfectly fine with me.
okay. Because we all know that construction never goes as planned.
That's right.
Okay.
We actually renovated that entire house from the studs out, as these guys know, and it was
Fun.
18 months of
Mhm.
dragging my feet and working and hiring people, and it was just not fun. So
Just gonna do a little bit, right?
yeah, just a little.
So detailing just involves essentially cleaning
Yes,
and the type of chemicals that you would be using.
everything's eco-friendly. So once diluted with water, which most of it comes out of a 5-gallon bucket with 1 to 2 ounces of whatever product I might be using, outside of a similar to what you would condition your couch at your house with if it's leather. My dogs are with me all the time, so everything has to be pretty up and up and safe for them.
Will there be a drain in that building?
Yes. Mostly, again, it'll be extremely diluted. It's basically Dawn dish soap. It's a extremely safe product, especially, they use it for animal rescues and stuff like that. So
Thank you.
Is this a full-time business or part-time?
full time.
So you're happy with the 6 vehicles per week?
On average, and the stipulation said on average. There's times that I get something that's a couple hour job, like somebody wants 2 front windows on a truck tinted. I take that work in because it's 2 hours and the customer either waits on it or picks it up in the evening. So it's not like it's, sitting around too long, or there's not somebody coming in picking them up all the time. It's most of the time they wait on it and then they leave with it. So it's not generating an additional car or anything like that.
Why waste the gas?
Right.
Do I recall correctly, were you doing some off-site work?
I do off-site
Okay.
work, yeah.
Okay.
Mostly aviation now.
Okay.
I do. I have a
Okay.
customer, my best customer, that I go to his place in Butler, Indiana, and do work for. So that's about the only off-site I do now.
Thank you.
Any other questions? See none? Thank you. At this time, we will open up the public hearing for anybody to speak for or against this petition. So please come to the podium, state your name and address. All right, seeing nobody, we'll close the public hearing and we will bring it back to the board for discussion or whatever your pleasure may be. And Kelly, I do like your idea of
Adding the
making
condition.
that null and void, because in the past, we have okayed several home occupation things that you know, we ask whether they are going to move if they outgrow that business. And with there not being anything, we probably should add that.
Well, then I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve special exception 26 WSE 4 for Nathaniel and Faron McClain for an automobile detailing business with the suggested conditions 1 through 9 listed. I'm not going to read them all. Adding a 10th one stating the previous home occupation special exception approval would become null and void by the end of 2026.
Second.
Kelly has made a motion to approve with all of staff's conditions, plus the previous home occupation special exception shall become null and void by the end of 2026. So Kim has seconded it. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? The special exception passes by unanimous decision. Thank you very much. You may stay or you may go ahead and go on with your evening.
Can't believe you're leaving.
All right. Please give me a moment here to get all my papers out of the way. And we will move on now to 26W Variance 2. The developmental standard variance, Love's Travel Stops and Country Stores, currently zoned IPM. The property is 6.414 acres. The petitioner, pending purchaser of the subject property, is requesting a developmental standards variance of the required lot coverage for the property located on the southwest corner of the intersection of US 30 and East Business 30 in Section 18 of Union Township. Staff, your report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So going to these slides then. As you said, this is located at the southwest corner of US 30 and 300 East, zoned IPM Industrial Park Manufacturing. Overall site acreage currently is 7.227 acres. That's gross acreage, of course. Net acreage for the lot area. This does have a primary plat that was approved last week. The net acreage then is 6.414 acres, and the balance between those would be dedicated right-of-way for Business 30. Being proposed is to develop the property as a truck stop, which is a permitted use under IPM Industrial Park Manufacturing. Currently, the current site plan has approximately 4.468 acres of impervious surface. Going to how this fits into the code, the maximum lot coverage in IPM is stated to be no more than 65% impervious surface coverage. Doing the math there, 4.468 acres over the 6.414 acres gives you a lot coverage of 69.7%. Thus, the requested variance is 4.7%. For reference, because it mentions it in the staff report, if you use the gross acreage inclusive of what would become the dedicated right-of-way, the lot coverage would be approximately 61.8%. So this is a matter of if the dedicated right-of-way was not a requirement of platting, we wouldn't be here. Or at least not with this site plan. So going to the reference materials, highlighted in yellow is the subject site. It does basically extend from the driveway to Pages Crossing all the way over to the intersection. Closer view for reference. This is the plat, as I said, that was approved at the Plan Commission last week, primary plat. This entire right-of-way here, approximately 0.8 of an acre, would be dedicated to Business 30. It's 50 foot from the center line right-of-way because Business 30 is a 100-foot total width, owing to the fact that it was a U.S. highway at one point. Most of our county roads are only 40-foot right-of-way total, so it's fairly extensive dedication. This is the currently proposed site plan. For reference, main store here, truck fueling area, truck parking area, automobile fueling and parking on this side. There is a restaurant here attached to the store as well. Entrance here, truck entrance here. I guess in terms of lot coverage, this does have a fairly extensive area here at the point that is for just green space. Detention, I believe the current plan is to have detention parallel to US 30, and then there is buffer area along the west side as well, and of course some buffer and required landscaping along Business 30. So overlaying the site plan over the aerial for reference. Okay, going to the review criteria, lot coverage is generally intended to help protect the public health, especially in concept at least, to prevent over intensification of an area without due design. So you could have 100% lot coverage, for example, in downtown areas where it's expected everything is designed to accommodate that. IPM, being an industrial park designation, really intends to have a bit more open space in order to prevent businesses from being on top of each other. So that does come into play, but in this case, it's such a small difference between what is being requested and what the code requires, that 4.7% difference, really feels like it does still comply with and would not be injurious to the public health, and doesn't really affect safety morals either. General welfare, of course, always you're looking for practical difficulty specific to the site. Use and value of the surrounding area would not be, in staff's opinion, substantially impacted because of the lot coverage variance. It's a very imperceptible difference between what would be meeting the code and what is requested. In addition, the overall area is commercial, so the sensitivity to such a deviation is lessened because of that. Finally, strict application of the terms of the ordinance, creating a practical difficulty, as I mentioned, because of the requirement of having dedicated right-of-way as part of the primary plat. That is what, that difference is what triggers the need for being here. That said, right-of-way is always required to be dedicated, so that should be part of an overall design. However, further thought is that that right-of-way for Business 30 is, again, a 100-foot right-of-way as opposed to a 50 or 60 for a more normal county road. So it's very specific, not necessarily specific to this site, but to any site along Business 30 that might have that additional excessive right-of-way. We might have similar practical difficulties arising because of similar conditions. Also, because it is a requirement of the Plan Commission and Subdivision Code, it is definitely not something that is self-imposed in that regard. Of course, putting anything here is their choice. They have worked to reduce the overall impervious surface from previous site plans, which you have not seen, but trust me, they have reduced the area somewhat in order to bring it down to what they feel is the amount that they can work with and still be successful. So, any questions for me?
I see none. Thank you, Nathan. Would the petitioner or representative of please come forth and state what it is you would like to do with your variance. Please give your name and address.
My name is Steve Walters. I live in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. First, I'd like to apologize for running behind tonight. I started out in the central time zone and it got me. So I miscalculation on my part. So thank you for moving us on the agenda. As Nathan said, we're asking for a variance. It is a variance, but what we feel is a small amount. Nathan did mention that we have tweaked our site plan quite a bit, and that is the case. When we first started out, we were about 75%, and now we're down to roughly 69%ish, somewhere in there. I think 69.7, I believe, something like that. So we've taken out some of the truck parking, lost a couple spaces there. We have over 650 stores across the United States, so we have some standards that we try to develop by, meaning how much distance from the truck parking, to this truck parking for a drive aisle. We've shrunk that down, as much as we can. The turning radius up at the top where the trucks will come and turn out of the fuel, we've shrunk that down as much as we can to try to tweak every square foot to get every little percentage point we can. And this is where we are now. At one point, we did have a drive-through on this site. We took the drive-through out to just have not a drive-through, so it took a lot of that impervious space away as well. I'm here to answer any questions. I have my engineer, John Butcher, here. He can answer any questions. Overall, I know I'm not as smart as John when it comes to this stuff. That's why I pay him a lot of money. But I do know that no matter what the drainage is today, we can't negatively impact that. Whether it's 69% or 65%, we've got to have the same drainage and it can't impact anybody else. And John and his team's done a good job at doing that, which when we go through the other processes, that'll be scrutinized as well. But I believe we got a good plan in place and just ask for your consideration for approval.
All right, any questions of the petitioner?
I just have one out of pure curiosity, because I don't know, and maybe I should follow. What is the future plan for US 30 at this intersection called for?
You're not the only one that doesn't know.
Let me rub this crystal ball here. For the foreseeable future, it will remain relatively unchanged, and by foreseeable, unless funding magically becomes really available,
Not in my lifetime.
we're probably looking at about 12 to 15 years before NDOT gets to this for design consideration.
Okay.
They currently, as part of Propel 30, have looked at interchanges. I think most of the alternatives suggest a median U-turn, so similar to what's at 500 East. Interchange is an option. I think they looked at cutting it off as a right in, right out, but I'm not sure that one made it very far. So.
Okay. I was just curious. You can tell I didn't go to meetings. So I
No,
didn't know.
it's fine. It is probably about 15 years out though.
Okay. Thanks.
Having said that, I know what you're talking about, the big project, but for us to develop and for Racetrack to develop, there will be some improvements at that intersection.
Because there's a lot of accidents. at that
There is,
intersection,
and
too.
so John has been very in tune, so I asked him if he wanted to walk over there and kind of point out what's going on.
Yeah. So
John,
Butcher, CSO, project manager. So I figured I'd introduce myself first, but do you want me to just walk over there?
yeah, you can make go do that. So.
And John, unless I'm mistaken, it's not firm yet. It's just what
No, it's
DOT is
not.
kicking around right now. Okay.
No. So as part of our development and the racetrack development that's across the road, I do know that they are making changes to South 300 East up here, as well as I don't recall exactly what, but I believe that this will be turning into signalized left turns for east and west, and then we will also have a dedicated left here on the South 300 East heading northbound, as well as we'll be widening the right turn onto South 300 East, as well as a dedicated right turn into the car area for the Loves as well. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I know the big project you're talking about, but I just wanted to point out that there will be some modification. It won't be 12 to 15 years when we build.
Sure.
There will be some. So,
Okay, great, thank you.
thanks, Sean.
There's no dedicated turn lane for the trucks.
No.
And that entrance is, that's right across from where the real traffic driveway is it
Yes.
not?
Yep.
Any other questions of the petitioner? All right, thank you very much. All right, we will open the public hearing for anybody to speak for or against this petition. Please come to the podium, state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Linda Shambarker Maury. I live at 1267 South Sherman Street in the Lincoln Point subdivision. I was here on February 18th as well, basically voicing objection to this proposal. The main thing I have a concern about is the traffic congestion. There's, accidents happen there frequently. And in fact, the day before, on the February 17th, there was 2 vehicle accident. And I've witnessed numerous vehicles, to include semis, running red lights there. And I'm just afraid that when you've got this gas station plus the racetrack gas station, across from each other, that it's just gonna create more confusion and congestion and safety issues. So that's my main concern. And then as you brought up about the concern about, US 30, I don't have any objection to Love's itself. I just don't think this is an appropriate location for it. I do have also 2 other questions, and I don't know if they can answer this or not. If you were to approve this, they've laid out here, their parking spots and their buildings and everything. If this is approved, can they make any alterations to any parking spaces? Can they add? Can they delete? Can they change the direction of the buildings? Anything of that nature?
So, board, this is a lot coverage variance. So, as it is, without any conditions, as long as they meet the lot coverage standard, they could make changes within that coverage. If you want to condition it based upon site plan or something else to lock them more in, I wouldn't recommend at this stage to lock them in too tightly, because there could be some reasonable things that still are yet to be engineered, but you could make some sort of condition if you wanted to.
Okay. And then my other question could be mainly directed to Love's, and I don't know if you're familiar with this, and this is only because I went by there on my way to Wabash. You got a Love's gas station there in Huntington at the end of the city. There's a Love's gas station. There's a Casey's, and then there's a Love's on, I think that's 24. Yeah. So I didn't know if maybe that is going to be similar in nature, or if it's totally different, if it's bigger, smaller. I didn't know.
Give me 1 second.
Is that the one with the Taco John's in it? There's a Taco John's.
I don't recall what restaurant there was. I just recall there being a Casey's and a Love's. There's Casey's and there's Love's as you're going out of town on 24. So I was just curious.
It'd be on the west side.
Yeah, I think
Be west of Huntington North High School.
Yeah, it's past the high school.
Yeah.
Yes, it is that. So I was just curious. That's all. I know that's a spur of question that you weren't anticipating.
I do remember him answering the question that this was a business plan that I believe Love's is looking at, was not creating the larger
Yeah, I remember that,
truck
him
stops
saying
that
that.
they were
I was just,
doing
you know, we went by,
smaller and.
yeah, we went by there, so I was just asking if it was similar in nature, or I think maybe, I don't know if that might be, I don't know. So, that's all my comments.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would say just looking at an aerial, it's gonna be very similar in size. Yes, ma'am. The one she's speaking of has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diesel, 1, 2, 3, 4 diesel bays. And I believe this one has 5, I think. Yeah. So it'd be very similar, yes, ma'am. This one does have a drive, Huntington has a drive-through, this one will not. Okay. Yes, right.
Alright, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
There we go. Taco John's.
I know what I'm talking about.
So. All right. Is there anybody else to speak for or against?
Are they getting rid of Pages Crossing?
Would you please come to the podium and plus, I don't believe you stood, sir, so you'll need to be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm that any statements you make before the board tonight will be the truth, if so state I do?
I do.
Thanks, Bob.
Bob Rivas. My business is 2179 East Page Road. Been there for 47 years. My question is, are they taking Pages Crossing out, or are they just going on the corner?
No, you can see from the aerial, sir, where to the left, that's Pages Crossing right there. Oh, they're right up, excuse me, John.
Well,
This is Pages Crossing parking lot right here.
okay,
This is their golf course, so this is where our site plan's gonna be.
okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. It will benefit my business, so I have no problem. Thank you.
All right. Is there anybody else to speak for or against? Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing and we will bring it back to the board for discussion and their pleasure. So, board, discussion on this? I will say this, and I said this at the Plan Commission meeting, being on the Plan Commission also, that there's a lot of, everybody wants to know what is going to happen. And unfortunately, with the state, the wheels do not move fast. I stated my opinion, which I thought right on, right off, you know, it was the most inexpensive cost to the state because interchanges cost money to build. But that was my opinion, and my opinion only.
I can't help but think, and I could be really wrong on this, but like especially if the trucks know there's a dedicated stop there, that maybe that will help perception. I know because at County Line Road it doesn't either, and it doesn't at Amazon for sure. But I don't think there's anything we can do in our minds that will change it. If you travel 30 from Fort Wayne to Plymouth, especially, I mean, going through Warsaw now is just awful. You'll find a back way to go anywhere. I think it's going to be a challenge, but I do appreciate the dedication on the site plan and working, especially with your neighbors across the road, to see how you might at least be able to improve things at that intersection. We can't control the way other people drive. We all know that when it happens when it snows. So.
Any other discussion or comments? And as Nathan reminded us, this is for a lot coverage and that, this variance is, so that's what we are voting on at this time. If there's any other conditions you'd like to put in it, the only thing is, this is a project that's ongoing. You know, as he said, you don't want to hem him in too much, so, or hamstring them, however you want to put it. So,
I'll make a motion. I move that we approve 26W variance 2 with no stipulations at this time.
Second.
okay, we have a motion by Doug to grant the variance with a second by Kelly. Any other discussion? We'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Motion passes. So, all right. That concludes all of our business that we have on our agenda. Is there any other business to come before the board at this time?
Do we have things filed yet for next month?
Yes.
We will have a meeting next month, so anticipate that. We did have a couple bills pass. HB 1001 passed today. That makes a whole bunch of different changes to residential uses and so on. So there will be code changes forthcoming this year to address that. It'll trickle down to you guys in the long term.
How was that vote? I mean, was it closer to unanimous or?
1001, I don't remember the exact number, but it was not unanimous.
It was like 35 to something.
It would have been like 35 to 15.
Well, there were
so.
some excused and some not
Yeah.
there, so
Okay.
the nay votes weren't very many.
Yeah,
What about Culp's bill? I can't remember the number that
it
took.
died. Yeah, it did not get out of Senate committee.
Good.
There are a couple others that were still pending that we're watching, but 1001's the big one. SB 176 deals with shooting ranges. That one's still in conference committee, so it's still outstanding as well. The other thing, the last bit, is due to various reasons, the GoToWebinar stream, which we've had since COVID. That was how we initially live streamed everything. That's how we had public participation during meetings. The subscription to that's about $3,000 per year, and we had somebody on tonight, but we at best have like one person per meeting, and they don't participate anymore. For viewing live streams, YouTube is available. So we're going to be, this will be the last county meeting that we'll be using GoToWebinar until and unless we have to resort back to having electronic participation. We can still do petitioners or your guys' participation remotely via Teams or something similar, but GoToWebinar was very useful for public participation because it required them to register, and we had record of who was actually viewing, which is important, just like signing the guest sheet. So that'll be going away.
Will they still be posted on YouTube on the county site?
Yeah, yep, yeah, and that viewership is very, very high. So yeah, relatively, it's very high.
And there are no limitations on, there's no maximum. Okay.
Correct, no maximum. Everybody's familiar with the YouTube's platform, so yep.
Thanks.
All right. If there's no other business, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you all very much. Thank you.